Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast, and this is episode 728. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're going to dig into a boomerang, and we're going to talk about the East this year, the Eastern Conference, and maybe a little about the Pacers' injuries, since I think they're affecting the team. This show, we've got two of our three analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? Shout out to... I don't know what to shout out anymore. What do we look at? Me. Sorry, I'm still recovering from...
No, you're... How about...
the election. Yeah.
I saw the duck face mail truck in a commercial. That was pretty excited about that.
Whoa. Shout out
excited
Duckface
about
Mail Truck. It's real. We're living in the future, guys.
Yeah. From Asheville, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender, mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles, John Colson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? Here's to living in the future.
Yeah, shout out. Before we get into the show, just want to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables, and you can support our show for as little as $1 per month. Get you a koozie, get you access to the Slack, and you get to chat it up with us. This show, we're starting off with the boomerang. Colson, what are you throwing at us this week?
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've done a movie. You know, it's a new season. It's been so busy talking about stuff, we haven't had time to start off the show with a boomerang. And we got a fancy new jingle for it, I think. So let's do that.
A bango ain't your baby.
Benedict Mathurin scored 38 points against the Knicks. That was not even a top 25 scoring game for an Indiana Pacer. I wonder if we can go around the table here and guess the top 10 players who've scored the most points as a Pacer.
In a single game.
In a single game.
Right?
Not all time.
So this is not like individual games. Like if a player had 2 or 3, they only count for one player?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So the 10 guys make up the top 13 scoring games for the Pacers.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So not too many repeats.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe.
Let's say Reginald Miller.
Reginald Miller, number 1 with 57 points. Also rounding out the 13 with 44 points.
Oh, so we set the range.
Yep,
Okay.
There's the range. Nice pick.
Nice. Well done, Joey.
Yeah.
I'll go Jermaine O'Neal.
Jermaine O'Neal, 55 points. I remember watching that game with you, Jason. And
That sounds familiar.
yeah. And Jermaine, he could have beat Reggie, but he checked himself out of the game.
That's right.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, the three of us watched it together, I'm pretty sure. That was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I'll go. I know this one. Actually, Harper texted me this one. This was Paul George.
Paul George, his favorite player.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul George, number 5 with 48 points, and number 8 with 45 points.
I'll go with Harper's second favorite player, Victor Oladipo.
Victor Oladipo, number 6 with 47 points.
How about Danny Granger?
How about a Danny Granger? Number 11, the 11th highest scoring game, tied with Reggie with 44 points.
Wow. Okay. Now we're getting into the
Now it's getting...
nitty gritty. Let's see. I'll go with Halliburton.
Halliburton also has 44 points. Yeah.
Okay.
Well done. Well done. Joe, it's getting a little dicey here.
A little dicey. All right.
We got 3 names left.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry, 4 names left, and I'm sure you can get a couple of these.
I feel like Smits had to go off at some point.
Smits did have to go off at one point. He also had 44 points.
Wow.
At
Nice.
one point. So Rick Smits.
Give me a rifleman.
Rifleman Chuck Person had 47 points, which is the 7th highest scoring game as a Pacer. Also had 45 points, the 9th highest scoring game as a Pacer. Only 2 guys left. It gets a little hard from here.
Okay.
How about this? Think of our best player in the late 70s, early 80s.
My memory's real foggy around that time.
You were barely born.
Let's see here.
You were born when this happened, but I don't think you have much memory of it.
Okay. Ooh.
How about this? You could also think of a player we've had on our team fairly recently, while we're doing the pod for sure.
I'm assuming it's Lance, right?
It's not Lance. I would have made sure you had that one right.
Oh man, it's not coming to mind. I remember somebody going off for an insane game that.
What if he was like the best player in the bubble?
Oh, T.J. Warren.
T.J. Warren has the 3rd highest scoring game as a Pacer ever with 53 points.
Wow.
Okay.
Versus Philly.
And then that ended his career, I think.
2020. And then, Jason, you got the 80s guy for me?
I'll go McGinnis.
No, very good guess. Billy Knight.
Billy Knight.
Billy Knight
I know that one.
also has the 15th highest scoring game. Tyrese Halliburton, 16th and 17th, and Paul George. The 20th highest scoring Pacer game, also 43. I don't know how they've ranked these. A lot of people with 43, including Jalen Rose.
Okay.
And John Williamson. But basically...
The guy that wrote the Star Wars theme?
That's the first thing I thought of. He's a composer, right?
77 versus the Golden State Warriors. But yeah, basically Reggie, Paul George, Chuck Person,
So the
Tyrese
Pacers have
Halliburton.
never had anybody score 60 points.
Never.
In franchise history. Wow. Interesting.
And only 4 guys score over 50. Billy Knight, T.J. Warren, Jermaine O'Neal, and Reggie Miller. So let's do it this year, butt scooting Big Mac.
AKA Maple Mamba. All right, team. So I think the main topic of this show is the Eastern Conference of the National Basketball Association is... They've been looking pretty good, and I think on paper they were pretty good. But in the real life, as a whole, this conference is pretty trash. They're not good. So there are some good teams in there. So as we record, Cleveland 11-0, probably because they keep playing all these Eastern Conference teams. But Boston's 9-2, and then as the standings go, the Pacers are third.
Woo! Home court advantage.
With a 5-5 record. With a negative scoring differential. They are third in the East. It's
Bad
gonna
news,
change.
we'd have
It's
to play
early.
Charlotte if the playoffs started today.
Oh no, they have our number.
They also have a negative scoring differential. But they do have our number. So, I guess I want to talk about basically some of the teams of interest. So, Cleveland, like as I mentioned, 11-0. These guys look like they're on a mission. They are playing super well. They're just playing winning basketball. They're moving it around. It's a fun team to watch. What do you guys think about the Cavs this year, Jason? You think these guys are for real?
I do, yeah. I caught the fourth quarter of their game last night, so Saturday night against Brooklyn. Brooklyn was ahead in that game, most of the game. And Cleveland just turned it on in the last 5 minutes and took over that game. And they look like a well-oiled machine. Evan Mobley has taken a leap. He looks super comfortable and super athletic. Darius Garland is back. He had a rough year last year, but he is fully in control of himself and scoring at will. Mitchell looks comfortable. There's no drama around that team. Kenny Atkinson has them playing a really good brand of basketball, and they are actually missing guys at this point. I think Strus hasn't played yet. So yeah, they're a beast. Like Jared Allen is, covering the rim and protecting the rim. They're legit for sure. I don't know if they're Boston good. I don't think they're gonna keep this up, but them in Boston right now, I would say.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah, they've got weapons at all positions. Mobley looks fantastic. They are only one of 3 teams in the past decade to start 8-0. So I don't know if anybody started 11-0. And I did see a stat on ESPN that there was the only teams that have started undefeated with a plus 18 point differential have all gone to the finals. So they I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they can beat Boston, but this team
So
is.
that's an N of how many?
There were like 3 teams.
Yeah.
But that means it just doesn't happen that often, you know.
Yeah.
So this team is doing very
And when
impressive
it does,
things.
it's really good teams that are
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's hard to not think that they're legit. So I hope they they stay healthy, and I like their squad. I like their team.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm becoming less cautious at this point. I don't want to say reckless, but I'm feeling good about this team. This was the plan when they re-signed what's his head, Mitchell. That was they were going to pay him the big bucks, and he was going to come back and lead them to the next level, and that is exactly what's happening. So. Shout out to plans coming to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they also, Garland is a great point guard. Mobley's turning into something. They
defend like none other. Like they lock down on defense when they want to.
They've got Georgie Nang, so.
Mm-hmm. He is there. He is there. Moving down the line here, so the Boston Celtics, as we mentioned, also fantastic. They're 9-2, and that's a very, very strong start from the returning champs. I'm not going to ask if you guys think they're real, because they're coming off as champs.
They won a championship.
They're clearly a very good basketball team. Colson, you look like you've got something to say
Well,
about how they're not real.
no, they're very real. They've only lost to two very legit teams. That would be the Golden State Warriors, who look like they have a new lease on life, and your Indiana Pacers, who happen to be the third best team in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, Boston's for real. They're going to win a lot of games and probably go back to the finals unless Cleveland has anything to say about it, or your Indiana Pacers. So, I think those are the only two teams that could challenge them right now. At least in the East. The East has fallen apart. In our preseason Eastern Conference predictions, I picked 5 Eastern teams to win 15 games, and most of those teams are like 500 right now. But somehow the teams that I picked to win 50 games are like 1-7. Like Philly and Milwaukee are just disasters. I mean, I don't think that Detroit or the Raptors are suddenly good, but it's all a mess, and everybody's jumbled up. They're just bad teams beating bad teams. I mean, or are the Bulls good? I don't know. I don't think the Bulls are good.
No, the Bulls aren't good, but they are. They do play at a faster pace. They throw up a bunch of threes, and so if they make a bunch of threes, then they can win a game.
Did you see all this stuff about the 3-point, craze? That it's the most threes ever shot by NBA teams ever, but it's like
it's not that much more than it was last year.
Yeah, it's 42
Yeah.
instead of 40. It's not that big a deal. I don't think it's a big change in the systems or how people are running things.
No, I mean, I think there's a slight more emphasis. I mean, you're going to gradually go up. I mean, I don't know. So I read this book over the summer, Kirk Goldsberry's book about sort of spatial mapping of the floor or whatever, and it's like how there's this clear, efficiency in 3-point shooting, and teams are smart about it, so they're going to take a lot more of those, Like the only thing that's more efficient is like a free throw, basically, in terms of points per attempt. No, I mean, I think that, there's been a few games where, like Boston, I think in the opening game, put up 63 pointers or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's a few teams that are approaching that every now and then. And so you see numbers like that, and that's pretty astounding when 60% of your attempts are from 3-point range. Like, that's a lot.
Well, it's working for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other sort of bunch of teams, you mentioned the Bulls. We got a bunch of teams that are hovering around 500. One of them being the Bulls. We mentioned probably not great.
The Heat,
what about
Hornets?
Yeah, so we got we got Orlando's one. I think these guys are pretty good. They're going to be fine.
Well, they just got to weather the storm until Paolo comes back.
Right.
Do we know how long he's out?
They said he would be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, no. That's awful.
Yeah, so he's out at least probably until
after the NBA Cup?
Around the end of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not going to put money on them then for the NBA Cup. Taking back my
bet. That's smart. Smart bet. Smart lack of a bet.
Right. Are the Nets legit? What's going on with them? I mean, I know they have some actual professional basketball players, but it's just weird. There's just some veterans on the team all of a sudden.
I haven't watched a lot of Nets basketball. I mean, I watched them against the Cavs the other night, but and they looked all right. I mean, they play hard, which is good, and they have some guys that can score. But no, I don't think it's for the long term. I don't think that they have any plans on keeping those guys around. I mean, they're in the asset collecting phase of things right now. So I imagine
This won't last that long.
Somebody will get traded at some point. Yeah.
What about Detroit? They've won 4 games already, which is a significant percentage of, I think, what we thought they were going to win for the season. We have like 15 for the year or something.
Yeah.
I think some of us had them slightly higher than that.
I think you had them at 22, didn't you, Jason? Something like that?
Something maybe even a little bit higher. I don't know. I like that team. I think they're feisty. I think they're actually well coached now. They play hard. Cunningham is a beast to handle.
Yeah.
We learned that in game 1 of the season.
That's right. And yeah, they'll be scrappy. I mean, they would be in the play-in. I don't see them maintaining that position, but mostly because of the Bucks and the Sixers below them.
Do you think the Bucks and Sixers are going to get their acts together? Is the question.
I think they'll get their acts together enough to climb out of the 14th and 15th positions. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they can make their way to the top of the, home court or whatever. But whenever Embiid comes back, even if he plays like only 50 games or something like that, like he's so good that gets them closer to 500, and you don't really even have to be 500 to get into the play-in this year.
No, you don't. I mean, and they're currently 3 games out of the 3rd seed, but you start 1-7, you're gonna have to do a lot of winning just to get back to 500.
Sure.
And
yep.
So I think not that home court advantage is out of reach, but the longer they go on this losing streak, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah, well, and Maxey just went down
Right.
for
A couple weeks at least.
At least it's one of those sore hammy things, and Pacer fans are intimately familiar with how that can hamstring a guy that is reliant on speed.
Yeah. Well, so Paul George is going to come back now, and it'll be his team. Is that the plan?
Yeah, it's currently a playoff P's team.
Okay. Well, that's going to go great.
I have more concern about the Bucks actually than the Sixers.
You know what? I always thought that was Drummond's team.
The Sixers?
Yeah. Maybe that's just me. What about the Bucks, you saying?
I'm more worried about them than I am the Sixers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they can play defense. And they're not efficient enough offensively to overcome that. And I don't know that Chris Middleton coming back solves that issue for them. It definitely makes them better. It definitely makes them more efficient offensively and slightly better defensively. But they weren't good the second half of the season last year.
No, they were not. And their championship team has aged. These guys that were, Middleton aged quickly with these injuries. Lopez isn't a spring chicken anymore. I will never say that Dame Lillard is, not a closer, but he's looking a little slow out there on the defensive end.
That is a very kind way to put it.
I just don't want him to get mad at me.
Right. I mean, it's just kind of interesting that Giannis is still incredible, right? But the league has changed so much that even with a super dominant player like that, he can't carry them, to a
right
winning
now,
record.
Giannis is averaging 30.1 points a game, and Lillard's at 27.3. But I mean, yeah, Giannis does a lot more, on the rebounds, and they're actually not terribly different on the assisting. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, yeah, Bobby Portis, he and his eyes are another year older, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So are you predicting the Bucks don't make the playoffs? I mean, God, the East
No,
is so
I wouldn't
bad.
go that far.
Yeah,
No.
the East is so bad, and they have Giannis.
Yeah, no,
So-
I think they're still a playoff team, but I worry about Giannis's happiness
Yeah.
and how that affects the team.
Well, we have lots of pieces if Milwaukee wants to trade him.
Yeah, I suppose we do.
The other teams that we really haven't really mentioned at all, I don't think, are on the less good side. Atlanta, Washington, Toronto. These are the teams that would be keeping some of these teams that we thought were going to be in the playoffs. Are any of these teams? Atlanta's 4-7. Are any of these teams going to keep one of the teams that we expect to get in? Are we going to keep them out?
I mean, Atlanta's frisky. They've got, a lot of kids that play hard. I don't know. I think I liked them in preseason about as much as this.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, if the Bucks are this bad, maybe the Atlanta gets their play-in spot. I don't know, but I don't think Atlanta's here to, change the game on us.
They'll be, I would say, 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
After all said and done. The Wizards are frisky, but bad.
Okay, they're
They
playing
kinda
hard.
Want to be bad, but no, they play hard. Their draft picks look really good. This Alex Sarr kid is super athletic, very very raw, but makes things happen defensively around the rim. And Koulibaly looks a little bit better. Bub Carrington is their point guard guy that they drafted in the first round. Looks pretty solid. They play fast. They play fast as all hell. And so yeah, they can wear some teams out. Do the old Pacers rope-a-dope. Catch some teams on the second night of a back-to-back.
And we will definitely lose a game to them. That's what you're saying?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. They got a guy named Bub. I'm all in.
Yeah. When Kuzma comes back, it'll probably make them worse. Less fun. But, and so what you were saying, Colson, you think the Heat are washed?
Yeah. No, I think they're done.
Okay.
Like I said, my theory was before the season that this was going to be the season where Jimmy Butler and the Heat end up separating ways. It's my theory.
Now, do you think that Milwaukee should Milwaukee want to blow it up? They are players for the Giannis Antetokounmpo.
They'd have to trade Bam though, right?
If I were the Bucks, I would demand Bam in that trade.
Yeah, you got to demand Bam, and I don't know if Miami wants to. I guess you do. I guess you do it if you're Miami.
Yeah.
Because it's Giannis.
Yeah.
So if the Bucks came to us and said we want Halliburton and all your young guys, Mathurin and Nembhard, and I don't know who else, Walker, you just say yes, right? Is that what you do?
No.
Okay.
That's too high of a price.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. Halliburton's off the table. Perhaps you could do a Siakam, one of our young pieces, and a couple picks or something like that. Maybe two.
So
of our young pieces.
you wouldn't trade Halliburton for Giannis straight up?
No, I don't think I would.
You're such a fan. I love it. Good on you, buddy.
I mean, he's younger too.
Yeah, I
Looking
know,
for
but
the
Giannis is
long
a
term.
multiple-time MVP.
True.
You would?
And-
You would trade Halliburton for Giannis?
I mean,
straight up?
do I love Halliburton and do I want him to be a Pacer for the rest of his career? Of course, but yeah, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
mean,
now he's averaging 31, 13, and 5 on 61% shooting.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's nothing compared to Halliburton's 27% from three-point range, though.
I mean, yes. Is Giannis 29? Does he probably only have 6 more incredible years? Sure, I get it.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't realize he was that young.
Yeah.
I always forget. He's been around for so long.
Yeah, because he started at like 16, didn't he?
Feels like it.
So I think that that dovetails a bit into the other topic I wanted to discuss for this team. I think having Giannis would fix some of our injury problems.
Some of the problems, maybe. Also, it would thin out some of our depth, potentially, if you have to give away several guys for Giannis.
But we've got a bit of an injury problem, as we mentioned in the over the last couple weeks. We've got Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman out for the season, so 2 of our backup big men gone, which leaves us pretty thin at the bigger positions. We've had Nemhard and Neesmith out with lower body, non-COVID issues. I don't know. Nemhard seems like he's less needs a shorter recovery than Neesmith. Looks like he's going to be out for 3-4 weeks. So now our small and middle-sized guys we're thinning out there too. We've had guys step up. We've had some of the rooks and the two-way players they're getting minutes and they're mostly playing pretty well. But I don't know, Jason. What do you think the injury situation's gonna do for this team? Are we gonna, we get to get a lot of burn on your boy Mathurin, and he has I'm guessing at this point an effervescent green light.
He doesn't pay attention to whatever light you show him. He doesn't care. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the light is.
I see I see he gets the ball and there's like some semblance of motion towards the basket, and there's like 4 dudes there, and he's like, I got this. Yeah. And he may not score, but he often will force them into a foul and just get to the line.
That's right.
He's just so aggressive.
He has done. I think his playmaking has improved a little bit on that end too. He's had a couple times where he got into those situations and drew defenders in order to dish and create a shot. That's a small fraction of the time that he drives to the bucket. Does he do it? But that's fine. No, I think you guys had a good discussion about this last week, actually, which I appreciated, and thinking about picking up some trash heap guys to fill in the interim. I had thought about it a little bit differently, which was to change the second unit around a little bit to have Toppin play the 5, just go kind of small in that second unit. Maybe shorten it to a 9-man rote. And, as long as you still have TJ McConnell and, shooters in Shepherd, Toppin, and Walker around him, that second unit can still be just as potent. There's not a lot of second units in the NBA that roll out a big guy that's really going to punish you. You know what I mean? The worry is that you have no rim protection, and for a team that just gives layup lines up, having no rim protection makes it even more glaringly bad. But and the couple games that we've seen where we've had this sort of extensive list of injuries, we randomly were missing McConnell in one game and Toppin in the other, and so I think the rotation has seemed especially short, in that Charlotte and the New York game. So I don't think it's overly bad. I've been impressed with Walker. I think that he looks comfortable. The game doesn't look too fast to him. He makes horrible decisions every now and then, but that's what you expect at this stage of the game. Ben Shepherd's been in Eastern Conference Finals at this point. I'm not afraid to put him out there, even in the starting lineup. So yeah, I mean, I it's a next man up situation, you know. Like I think, yeah, we're gonna get a good a good look at Johnny Furphy probably over the next couple weeks.
Well, so Enrique Freeman apparently led the league in rebounding last year. From Akron. Is that true? Is that what I heard them say on the broadcast? Apparently,
Which league?
He's a rookie though, right? So
no,
he
not
led
the NBA,
college?
the
Okay.
college league, the whatever.
Okay.
Whatever Akron.
Sure, I'll buy that.
Are they in the same division as, as other teams? I don't know.
Oh, he was the best rebounder in his league, or in all of
his-
college basketball.
In all of college basketball?
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
One is way more impressive than the other.
I know one's very impressive and the other's not at all. So there's no way to know though. So we'll just. um, look, I saw him like have one good save the ball that was going out of bounds play where I was like, oh, that guy has some innate skill with grabbing the basketball. But it's having him out there and having Furphy out there is a little bit, like a roller coaster. They're just they're deer on ice sort of things, and I'm so pleased that they're gonna see some burn, but that's not a long-term solution. At least, I mean, it's great that we have 3 full-time ball handlers on our team, but when you start 2 of them, you really can't afford your third one to go out. So, Nemhard's our starting 2 guard, even though he's a point guard, natural point guard. It's great to have 2 ball handlers in that backcourt. It's one of the things that makes us special. He goes down, no sweat. You put in a shooting guard. You put in a Matherin or you put in a Shepherd. But McConnell goes down, and there ain't nobody that can hold the basketball in that second unit, And so that was a real problem against Charlotte. And without Toppin, Enrique Freeman is seeing a lot of burn. So we're out of a lot of comfort zone. We're out of a lot of room for more injuries, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, sure, yeah. You take a third of anybody's roster out, like that's a problem.
Well, we're talking about 2 starters and our 2 key members off the bench right now. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that Jarris Walker's getting this burn. I mean, he has a nice feel for the game. He plays tough defense. He can rebound, he can pass, he can shoot. I'm excited about this chance for him. I think he's a future rotation piece for the Pacers.
Yeah, and I think we totally forgot we were sidetracked by our being appalled by the Charlotte game. We didn't give Jarris Walker his due credit for the Orlando game where he went had 17 points and went 7-7 and was just looked like a monster on the defensive end as well. Like, yeah, he's going to do some good things. So I mean, yeah, it's that, and it's you stretch these guys, minutes wise a little bit more. Like, Halliburton's going to have to play 36, 37 minutes a game instead of 35, and everybody plays a couple more minutes than they usually do, and weather the storm for another month.
Wow. That's a long time, but at least it's at the beginning of the season, right?
Sure, yeah. And I mean, these things go in cycles, and I don't know if our injury luck was like super great last year, but it wasn't horrible. So
yeah, I mean, having Matherin kind of be injured Matherin having been injured the second half of the season really hurt us. I mean, you're seeing him play like this, and maybe he wouldn't have played like this, the second half of last season, but he looks like a difference maker. Looks like maybe we could have won a game against Boston, if he was playing the way he's playing right now. And, and Halliburton getting banged up and never quite coming back to his all-star level.
yeah,
But outside of that, we were really lucky and stayed pretty healthy as a team. Maybe it's our turn to get banged up a little bit.
Well, this is the time of year to do it if you're gonna,
Right.
if you're gonna do it.
I mean, Embiid will end up being injured now and in the playoffs. At least there's that.
Right.
And New York will have like 4 players by the time the playoffs roll around.
If they make it that far.
Well, Colson, do you have an undegoogable for us?
Oh, are we doing under Googleables?
That was the plan.
Super excited.
You told us we had to, so.
He said we signed up for it.
In the end, it's going to be better and more true than Google can give you.
I don't really. Do anybody have else one?
I got one.
Nice.
I was looking at my list, and we had bantied this around doing it earlier, but the phrase soup to nuts. We're going all the way from soup to nuts. It's the whole
Shebang.
kit and caboodle, or the whole process.
You're saying it's the whole process. It's we. What did we do? How do we do it? Soup to nuts. When do you use this phrase?
I think of it as like, a whole process thing. Like we have control of this whole operation from soup to nuts. You know?
Okay.
Is that what you guys think of it as, or?
Yeah, when you wanna just describe something in totality, from beginning to end, alpha and omega.
Mm-hmm.
Like Colson, your lord is the soup and the nuts, right?
Sure. So in this, the way that you're describing this, soup would be the beginning of the process and nuts would be the end. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
In that case,
or it's
okay.
like, this is the breadth of things that we have. Like, we have everything from, like if you're thinking about at a grocery store, we have everything from soup to nuts. Like, and all of the things in between.
Okay. It's interesting that those are the parameters.
Right.
And then everything else is in between. I mean, I suppose that's why you're asking this question. I was wondering, though, whether this was not edible nuts, but like nuts and bolts.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a good. But then why soup? Or does this go back to souped up cars?
Yeah. Like supered up.
Mm-hmm.
Or what about like some sort of a stew of things, a soup of, I don't know, ideas instead of a soup to eat.
Okay. So we go all the way from idea to the nuts and bolts of things, like the actual product at the end of the assembly line. Okay.
That's what I'm going with. Because I don't really eat nuts with soup. And those don't make sense to me connected. They're not connected on the food, in the food world, really.
Sure. I don't remember having reference to ideas as a soup. I remember watching, what was that? Talk Soup? Was that a
Talk soup, yeah.
show? With Joel
Yeah, that was a
McClane?
good show.
Or McHale?
Oh yeah, Michaela, yeah.
Is that where this comes from? Is this a Joel McHale thing?
It's the soup.
Potentially.
Yeah. Sidebar. By the way, Colson, I've made some good soups that you put some nuts in there and puree them. It gives it a little more.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just a little more thickness.
No, I like
but
that.
Nobody
I like
does
quite
that
a bit.
besides vegetarians. So nobody, no way that would.
Well,
I was just, nobody like sprinkles nuts on a soup, right? It's not
No,
like
that-
crumbling
that-
crackers.
Oh, you do
know,
do a pepita on a
Oh, I do love a pepita.
on a
But is that a- but is that a
butternut squash
seed?
soup or something. You know.
That's a seed, right? Not a nut. Pepita's just
I mean,
a pumpkin
technically,
seed, right?
yes.
I guess nuts are seeds. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I think there is a distinction actually, but
Okay. But like an acorn is a nut and a seed. Because it would make a tree. I don't know.
Oh,
I forget how you define the definition of a nut is. But there's something about like all of the things that we call nuts are not actually nuts. Like
Okay.
like peanuts are not nuts.
they're
legumes.
legumes, right? And
But I don't know what a
acorns
nut
or mushrooms
is.
or something. I don't know.
Right. Sure.
Sure. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're calling things nuts that aren't really nuts.
Don't call me nuts.
So like, it's soup to seeds, really. So we're just calling,
So it's the primordial soup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going with.
When do we think that? So often, yeah. When do we think this came around?
When did they invent soup?
I think this was shortly after hot water was invented.
I mean, I feel like there's a stew before there's a soup, right? You want heartier. Well, actually, I don't know. You're probably right. I think it's just hot water. You didn't have it was when things
I
are
think it's
lean.
boiled
you're hungry.
bones. I think
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
where soup started.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Okay, so basically the moment you came up with fire and water. It's probably soup. Yeah.
When did we come up with water? When did?
I mean, Asheville still hasn't figured that out.
Got him.
Okay,
This race
I like
seems
this.
oldie to me, but not like ancient. It seems
So
like
you're thinking
a
like 1800s?
like industrial revolution phrase. Or
Okay.
something, I think.
Well, that's why I'm wondering whether it's it's like, hey, we go to work, we carry our pail of soup,
Sure.
and yeah, we've got nuts and bolts. So when we walk in the door, we got our soup, and we're going to work.
Sure. Yeah. By the
So
end of
it's
it,
Industrial
all the nuts are in
Revolution.
the machine.
Yeah.
What you got,
I
Joey?
like this.
Joey, you're very pensive over there, and I don't know what's going
Yeah, I'm trying. Like,
You look scared, Joe. It's okay.
on. Like you don't want to know
the-
the answer to this question. Like it's.
that's certainly.
You just
I
are
do
okay with
wanna
being
know.
wrong, and you want to be wrong forever.
Well, what about this? What about like if you had a meal, and you had like soup? Maybe you always had soup as like the first course, and nuts were like a
Dessert.
dessert, like a digestive after dinner
Okay.
after thing.
This is a
it's
possible thing. I'm
it's ordered
Like
at
in
least.
the so you have your dinner and then you retire to the lounge to have your cigar and there's some nuts around.
Yeah.
and cognac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From soup to cognac didn't sound as good.
Yeah. Well, that's what it
I
was
don't
until
hate this,
until
Joe.
Prohibition, and then they had to change it.
Right.
Right. Oh, sure. That became code for cognac.
All right, and and let's rattle
So he's
off
going prohibition.
our typical Shakespeare. Is this a Shakespeare? Is this
Definitely. This is 1,000% Shakespeare.
is it seafaring in any way? Is it?
I feel like
Is it
they're not
horse
getting
racing?
as much soup. I don't feel like soup is on the boats. as much.
Yeah. Is this primordial soup to the nuts of a horse? That's like horse racing.
I'll pass on that one. Hard pass.
Now I see why you were so afraid, Joey.
No, I'm gonna go Shakespeare. Joey's going prohibition.
I'm going Industrial Revolution. I think this is like a Andrew Carnegie phrase or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, hell yeah.
It is exactly what Joey said. It was
Nice.
first course, appetizers or soup. Final course, sweets, fruits, or nuts.
The phrase comes from the Roman phrase ab ovo usque ad mala, because apparently the Romans ate soup and ended with apples. Or no, they begin with eggs? Yeah, that's ovo. Well, why would that be soup and nuts? I guess that's how stuff evolves.
Well, you could just change it. Like, what would for an American meal, you would say, like, from fries to shake. You know?
Right, okay.
Timing is a little weird on this. It seems like middle of the 20th century. So it used to be eggs to apples.
Eggs to apples,
Or pottage to cheese. And then in the mid 20th century...
I'm seeing there's another one from soda to hock.
Ooh, there's a website called Hot Idioms. I have to confirm that I'm over 18. No, just kidding.
Whoa. So it looks like this usage, like specifically soup to nuts, is American and seems to be from, in the early 1900s. But there's other, like you guys had mentioned, there's other same meaning phrases from eggs to apples and things like that, or in other cultures previously.
Yeah.
There's also a movie called Soup to Nuts that the Three Stooges were in 1930.
Yeah, and I saw there was a Looney Tunes duck soup to nuts.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Joey nailed it.
Joey nailed it.
I almost got the timing right.
And I thought it was nuts and bolts, so what do I know? Or the nuts of horses.
And next time I have a dinner party, I'm just serving nuts for dessert. They can,
that's cheaper and a lot easier than
I think it's actually
cake.
way more expensive.
Oh, yeah?
Nuts are very expensive, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. You're right, that's true. But it's easier than making a cake.
True.
That is true.
Who's number 4 on the Pacers?
All time?
Oladipo?
No, right now.
Luis
Like
Scola?
Like the jersey number?
It was Oladipo in the past.
No idea.
Who took Oladipo's number?
Tristan Newton. The reason I asked this is because they did a bench start or cut, which is essentially marry, fuck, kill, right? But they did it for the Pacers, and they were talking about cookies, cake, or ice cream, and Tristan Newton was the only one that didn't have start cookies. Everybody loved cookies, and I think he cut cookies. And I was like, who is this guy, and why is he on the team? Tristan Newton, number 4. Doesn't know that cookie's the best. Like he wanted cake to start. What does he know?
Well, team, I hope you learned something along the way. Do you have anything else this week that you... Colson, you haven't plugged your book in a while.
It's been a few years, yeah. But yeah, if you're a Patreon, I'll send you a book. How about that?
Well, so you send a hardcover?
Hard copy, yeah. You can have a hard copy, and I'll write you a haiku inside the jacket.
Ooh. Very nice.
Probably made by ChatGPT.
Okay. Way to dial it back.
I gotta outsource that shit. Get all these patrons. Otherwise, it's a full-time job writing haikus, you know?
Yes, we have so many patrons that you won't be able to do anything else besides
Writing
get on
haikus takes me a
ChatGPT.
while, that's all I'm saying.
Right. They don't have to rhyme, man.
It makes it so easy.
Because the thing is, butt scooting Big Mac is 5 syllables right there.
That's right.
That's the first line of each one of your haikus. I did a third of the work for you.
Take it to the hoop is your last line. You just got to come up with 7 syllables, man.
And then it's profit from there, baby. All right, team, we're going to get out of here. Colson's he'll be in the lab with a pen and a pad.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to chant Furphy enough to make it 7 syllables somehow. Furphy, 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 Furf.
I don't know if that violates the spirit of the haiku. No, it does violate the spirit. I don't know if it violates the letter of the haiku. But it does violate the spirit. I don't like it. We should put a cap on how many furfies can be in a haiku.
All right, so it's 2 Furfies per haiku. 3 TJs is a TJ Maxx. That's all I got.
So and Colson will hopefully reach out to some editors at the end of this process. Collaborate with them. And hopefully they know what a furphy is.
We're asking a lot of our editors.
I know. Well, you can get in touch with us on social media. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's also a contact form on there. You can use that to send us a message. And email. Shoutout at TheUndebeatables.com. And the website /store is where our merch is.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sickleonard, turn out the lights. The party's over.
Wow.
I bet Furphy is on hotidioms.com. Bet there's a whole definition of what a Furphy is.
I bet he's got like a premium membership. You gotta say you're 18 to get on there?
That's crazy. You gotta show 2 forms of ID. It's nuts.
Wow.
I like it when Eric only half listens because I started talking about a Furphy sighting on the game tonight. She was like, "Wasn't he the guy who's like Grandpa invented the toilet or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's who it was." Yeah, the Furphy sanitation cart.
That's right.
And then I explained they're not related. Well, we don't think they might be. They might be the same person. The time traveling same person. Oh,
unless Furphy is a super common last name in Australia, like
it's like Jones or Smith. This is just an insider bartender clue, though. So if you just order a drink and say you're on the Smith tab, pretty good chance that I'll just put it down. It's
nice. Fine. All right, cool.
So did Furphy?
If you're in Australia, put it on the Furphy tab.
The Furphy tab. But so you think he finally broke the porcelain ceiling?
I think I might be calling the show Porcelain Ceiling.
Gross.